Here are 5 films from 2009 in the science fiction genre better
Say
than...
5 sci-fi films.
5 sci-fi films from 2009 better than Avatar.
The Clone Returns Home, which uses the sci-fi genre to explore philosophical ideas.
Moon, which better illustrates a protagonist in a new, alien, hostile environment.
District 9, which had better action sequences at a fraction of the price.
Knowing, which explored the philosophical elements of its science fiction trappings in a superior manner.
Star Trek, which has Leonard Nimoy.
Sona geri tez mektup yaz bana geri.
Hey, welcome back to the Jumpcut. Welcome to the Jumpcut Junkies. This is episode 4. I'm Nick.
I'm Gabe. And we're here to discuss the highest grossing film in the history of whatever, Avatar.
You act like you don't care, but you seem to care a little bit.
I've seen it twice, unfortunately.
You've seen it twice?
Yes, I've seen it twice.
IMAX. It was IMAX.
Neither IMAX.
Emux. You're missing out. You got to check it out.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm missing out on a whole lot of nuance and character. Nick's seen it once.
Just one. I just saw it today. I was the last person in the world to see Avatar. It's
We're sure you know what it's about.
late January. We shouldn't even do this episode. You want to just like go grab a beer?
Well, you know, I mean,
I already had a few today.
James Cameron, you know, he deserves it.
Okay, so
Fuck you, come on.
I did see it IMAX 3D, and obviously it's a spectacle film, and I think you're doing yourself a disservice by not seeing it IMAX. It's a little unfair because the IMAX 3D is some kind of modern form of hypnosis. It makes everything better to watch it that way.
You spend every moment on Pandora. There's never a single moment on Earth, so it kind of feels like a transformative experience. You're already there. It's a new world. It's the old concept of a film taking... Be careful of Kurt Russell. It's an old concept of a film taking you to a place you've never been. Mm-hmm. In this case, it's very literal. There's a lot that I'm surprised about, considering Cameron took, what, like 10, 15 years to work on this thing. What year did this take place in? Like 500 years?
2154.
Yeah, more than 100 years in the future. And our slang is still the same.
A lot of the dress is the same, too, I noticed.
Yeah, everyone dresses the same. Fashions are all still
Giovanni Ribisi, he looks like the office drone from 25th Hour.
Yeah, not really...
I don't know why I lashed on the 25th Hour.
Of course, the old matter of the wheelchair.
Right, yeah, you think... I'm thinking back, the early 90s, Professor X was floating around in a wheelchair in the X-Men cartoon. I don't see why, if you're making a movie in 2009, you wouldn't have a character 150 years in the future that's not floating around in a wheelchair. Sigourney Weaver, I think she does a good job with the material she's given. That's the thing.
Which is nothing.
Yeah, a lot of the actors... Stephen Lang does a great job as the one-dimensional baddie. Giovanni Ribisi does well with his... whatever he's given.
And Sam Worthington showed up.
Cameron didn't spend much time on the script. I remember the first time I rolled my eyes, of many, was at the beginning when Sigourney Weaver's character, Grace, has a confrontation with Giovanni Ribisi's character. I forget his name. He's the big corporate guy who's at the planet. And he states... What? That'll do, yeah. Corporate guy. And he states very explicitly for Sigourney Weaver, and of course the audience, why they're there, to get unobtainium, which costs $20 million, or which goes for $20 million a kilo. As if Sigourney Weaver didn't know that.
And it's called unobtainium.
Another aspect I didn't like of the script was the almost patronizing tone it took against towards the Na'vi. These primitive people, which all played by either black or one Native American actor. And it's kind of like they, it's presented in a very positive light. They live a simple life, they live close to the earth. But of course the white people come, and they are way more advanced. I feel like the things he throws in his movies that appear to be more progressive elements, like the green message and the anti-military, anti-corporate thing, it all seems like it was just easy to throw into a script. I don't feel like he really gets behind any of those ideas.
He's the world's worst hippie. The metaphor is almost, really the whole idea of the film is pretty hypocritical. First you have the base idea where this is an anti-corporation film that costs $500 million made by a major studio. Then you've got the idea where the military and the military-industrial complex is this very, very negative aspect, this very, very negative element in the story. And so Cameron made sure to have these very toyetic, giant mech creatures, mech devices that the army pilots, with knives. Why a robot with guns would need knives is beyond me, but
slicing down the forest.
Yeah, and the whole film feels like hugely toyetic. And then there's the idea that if you follow the film's metaphor through, it seems to be, if you treat the Earth well, then they promise to send you monsters to fight your enemies. It's not a really well thought out idea.
They're not monsters, they're animals. They're only monsters to us.
Hammerhead rhinos. Hammerhead rhinos, I'm sorry. A three-dimensional visual experience and a one-dimensional plot experience, which I'm sure was the tag for several different reviews that you've already read. All you need to do is really change the special effects, change the location, and you have another film in this genre. You have a Pocahontas, you have a Dances with Wolves.
I was thinking New World. Priyanka Chopra should have played one of the Na'vi.
That would have made sense.
Whatever happened to her?
I don't know. Maybe she's in college? It's been like 6 years. The New World, one of the more underappreciated films of the last decade. Is James Cameron so backwards? The admirable thing about his filmmaking and why people have jumped onto the bandwagon for the film is because Avatar is concise, Avatar is straightforward.
Concise? It's like 2.5 hours long.
Hold on. I mean, in its action sequences and its depiction of violence. There's tons of players involved in every action sequence, but you always understand what's going on, you always understand why it's happening, how it's going to happen, how people die, how people live, how people win, how people lose. Which, in the age of your Michael Bays and your Tony Scotts and all those other assholes, is almost revolutionary.
The action is simple.
You know why the dragon is being raped and who is raping the dragon.
Right. The action is simple and it moves, but it didn't feel like the action scenes didn't really do much for me. You know,
I'm giving faint praise.
A lot of impact.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I thought they were actually kind of boring, which surprised me from James Cameron. You think he hasn't made a film in a decade? It's been longer than that since he made an action film, and the action set pieces were a little bit of a letdown. If they weren't in 3D on the IMAX screen, I don't think they would have been anything to write home about.
The special effects will always fail if there's no human element to invest in, and there's absolutely zero human element whatsoever. Part of that has to do with the very, very skimpy writing of the lead, but it's across the board. It's across the board very, very shallow screenwriting and filmmaking.
It seems like he knows it'll please a certain segment of the audience, and it's easier to write bad guys like that, because it's harder to get, long-haired tree huggers. What am I trying to say?
Mobilized?
No. It smokes my eyes. I can't really finish the sentence. So I think we're just going to end it here. Whether or not you should see it is a moot point, because you already have.
The secret to Avatar's success seems to be on how much it resembles an Etch-a-Sketch action blockbuster. It is whatever the fuck you want it to be. You like it before you walked in. This is a definitive case. It's not a movie. It's a fucking diorama.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. It's okay. You'll get used to it, babe.
Smoking kills.
It's alright. I smoked up Martian Manhunter before he loved it.